All right, guys, let's get you ready to take this test tomorrow. The first one says find the radian measure of 36 degrees. Two things to think about here. Well, no, there's not. The shortcut is, remember, you take 36 degrees, divide it by 180, and put a pi with your answer. So I'm just going to take that and punch it in my calculator. And 36 goes into 185 times, so it's going to be pi over 5 radians. That's all you got to do there. Number 2 is one you got to think about a little bit. Number 2 says find the degree measure. So if there's a pi in it, if it's radians, there's a pi in it, you can just substitute the 180 where the pi is, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm thinking 3 goes into 180 60 times, 5 times 60 is 300, so that's going to be 300 degrees. Now, in case there's not a pi tomorrow, like if there's no pi, you would have to take that 5, I'm going to do it anyway, 5 pi by 3, and you would do 180 degrees over pi. So what you multiply by, because your pi's would cancel. And if you look at what's left, you got the 5 times 180 over 3, which is the same thing we just did right there. All right, number 3, see if I can erase this real quick. Remember coterminal, the word coterminal is number 3. Find the measure of just one positive and one negative that is coterminal with 120 and negative 2 pi over 3. So this counts as number 3 and 4 tomorrow. So 120, to find one positive one with that, you're going to add 360, which is going to be 480. To find a negative, you're going to subtract 360. And if subtracting once or adding once doesn't do it, you gotta keep adding or keep subtracting until you find 2 of them. So that's the answer number 3 right there. Number 4, because it is radians now, you got to find one positive, one negative. We're going to add 2 pi and also subtract 2 pi from that answer. Now, remember how we did that the other day? We took whatever the denominator was and doubled it. Okay, so like if I double 3, that's 6. So I'm really going to add 6 pi over 3. Would you think about that? That is 2 pi. Okay, because 6 is twice as big as 3. If you add those together, you get 4 pi over 3. And then I'm going to subtract this. I'm going to subtract the 6 pi over 3. And we're going to get negative 8 pi over 3. So those are my 2 answers for number 4. Number 5, find the length of the arc, the subtends, our favorite word, subtends. A central angle of 45 degrees in a circle of radius 12. This is your radians formula. The angle, theta, equals S over R. S is arc length, R is radius. Now, it only works for radians. So what I'm going to have to do first, I'm going to take that 45 degrees and change it to radians like we did a minute ago in number 1 by doing that right there. And I'm going to find out that it would be the same thing as pi over 4. So my angle pi over 4 equals the arc, which I don't know, over the radius, which is 12. It's going to cross multiply here, which will give me 12 pi is 4s. Divide by 4, I get s equals 3 pi. And if you want to, you can take that and punch. You can leave it like that if you want to. I'm going to punch it in the calculator, just get a good decimal there. What do they get? Like 9.42. So I'm going to put 9.42 meters. I don't know if you notice a little m right there after the 12. That kind of went to the next line. I'm not sure what happened. All right, number 6. Find the exact values of the 6 trig functions. What you got to find first is this side over here, in case you don't know it, which in this case we don't. So I'm going to say that's 7 squared plus b squared equals 8 squared. So 49 plus b squared is 64. Move that 49 over, you get 15. Take the square root, so it is square root of 15. That's what that side is. It's all about theta now. Think about what theta is. So I got to find the sine of theta, the cosine of theta, the tangent of theta, and then of course all the reciprocals. So I'm going to say cosecant theta, secant theta. I'm putting them beside the reciprocal, cotangent theta. Okay, so sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm going to go opposite is 7, hypotenuse is 8, so it's 7/8, which means cosecant is 8/7. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. The adjacent side is the square root of 15 over hypotenuse, which is 8. Secant, it would be 8 over square root of 15. Do not leave it like that. Take the 15 to the, come right around 15 to the top, take it down on the bottom. Tangent, opposite over adjacent, which would be 7 over the square root of 15. Again, don't leave it like that. Move the 15 to the top, take it down on the bottom. Cotangent is reciprocal of that, which is square root of 15 over 7. Hope that's okay. Number 7, sketch a triangle and 8. Sketch a triangle that has acute angle theta, and find the other 5 trig ratios of theta. Okay, so I'm going to draw the triangle first. It's all about where you put your theta, remember. So I'm going to put my theta down here this time. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And guys, that's one of those famous ones. It's 8, 17. 8, 17. It is 15. 8, 15, 17. So one thing I know, first of all, cosecant is reciprocal of sine. So I know that one right off the top. Cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, which means my secant is reciprocal of cosine. Tangent, of course, opposite over adjacent, so I'm going to go 8 over 15. And my cotangent is reciprocal of tangent, which would be 15 over 8. All right, number 8. Cotangent is square root of 3. Again, we're going to draw this triangle here. And again, it's all about where you put your theta. Put my theta there. Okay, now, here's what I know. If cotangent is square root of 3, means tangent is 1 over square root of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that up here. 1 over square root of 3, opposite over adjacent. I need to fix that, but I wanted to write the triangle first. So I have 1 something squared. I got to find the hypotenuse there. So you do 1 squared plus square root of 3 squared equals c squared. So that's going to be 1 plus 3 is c squared. C squared is 4, so c is 2. That's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, by the way. So here we go. Sine theta, where theta is, I'm going opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1/2, which means my cosecant theta is 2. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is square root of 3 over 2, which means my secant is 2 over the square root of 3. We need to fix that one. 2 on 3 over 3. Hope that's good. Let's keep going. Number 9, find the inverse. Do this before fall break. Remember inverse. Take your x and y, switch them, get the y by itself. So I'm going to put the x over here, the y's where the x's were. And I'm going to cross multiply this one because there's 2 y's and there's a fraction. So if I'm multiplying this way, getting xy plus 2x. Multiplying that way, I just get 1 times y minus 2, which is y minus 2. So that's the first step. Second step, I need to get the y's together. So I'm actually going to trade places with those two right there. I'm moving that 1y over here, moving the 2x over there. Now I got my y's on the same side. I got to get down to 1y, so I'm going to factor out the y. Like that right there. And I got one more step. Because it says y times x minus 1, I got to do the opposite. Don't forget you're going to end up with your inverse of f symbol there. And divide both sides by the x minus 1. And there you have it. What number are we on? Number 10, find the inverse. Another inverse. Must be important. Keep doing inverses. So again, take the x and y, switch, get the y by itself. So put the x over here, the y in here. Now because that's a cube, the way to get rid of a cube is you take the cube root, so I'm taking the cube root of x, that equals y minus 3. In the last step, I'm going to move that 3 over, so I'm going to go ahead and put that f negative 1. So I have cube root of x plus 3. And again, the reason I didn't do plus or minus in front of that radical is because it was an odd root. Okay, cube root, you don't need the plus or minus. Square root, you do. Fourth root, you do. All right, here we go. Number 11, find the average rate of change. Remember, rate of change, fancy words for slope. So there's my x, where's my x's? There's my x's. So I'm really doing this right here. I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x. So my x's go in my denominator. I'm going 3 minus h, that's x2 minus 3. That's my denominator. I need my y's. The way you get your y's is you plug these in. So I'm going to plug 3 minus h in there. We'll go down here to the side somewhere, to the bottom. Plug in 3 minus h. Got to square that first before you distribute the 2. So 9, doing square, multiply double, square. Distribute the 2, you get 18 minus 12h plus 2h squared. That's going right here, 18 minus 12h plus 2h squared. And then minus, always minus, I'm going to take the 3 and plug it in. I can do that in my head. If I plug 3 in there, I get 2 times 3 squared, which is 2 times 9, which is 18. And looking what I have here, those 18s are going to cancel, which leaves me negative 12h plus 2h squared in my numerator. Also in my denominator, my 3's cancel. It has a negative h. Now, it's a negative h, so be careful. I'm going to divide a negative h into the numerator, which is going to change the signs and cancel out the h's. So it's going to be a positive 12 and a minus, minus 2h. That's where you end up. That's your average rate of change. And the last two, piecewise and a factor. Okay, so piecewise, that first one, the first part of piecewise right there, that's going to be a line. So I can plug in negative 4 in there. If I plug in negative 4, I get positive 4. So I'm going to go negative 4, positive 4, empty circle. And because it says less than negative 4, I'm going to go left, which is negative 5. Plug in negative 5 in there, you get positive 5, which is right here. Connect that dots. There's the first line. Second one has a negative 1. It's also a line. If they give you two numbers, it tells you where to start and where to stop. So I'm going to plug the negative 4 in there. If I plug negative 4, I get negative 1. Filled in circle this time. And also the 2 tells me where to stop. So if I plug in 2, I also get -1. And I put +1 on my graph. I'm not sorry about that. 4, -1, there we go. And 2, -1 is an empty circle. Connect those two, right at -1. The last one is also a line. So I'm gonna take 2, plug it in there. If I plug it in, I get -2 plus 4, which is +2. That's a filled in circle. And because I'm going to the right, it says greater than 2. I'm gonna plug in 3. If I plug in 3, I get -3 plus 4, which is +1. So I plugged in 2. I plugged in 3 and I got 1, which is right there. Connect the dots. And there's that line. Okay, so just 3 lines that time. Watch out for parabola just in case. And the last one, number 13, factor. Now, remember, the first thing you do when you always start to factor is you do G, C, F, if there is one. This one has one. It's a 3. If I take out the 3, that leaves an x cubed and a -27. I think tomorrow, matter of fact, I know tomorrow, you're going to take a GCF out of that one too. Now, what that leaves me with, though, you got to keep going if you can. That leaves me with a cube, difference of cubes inside. Remember how you factor cubes. You go small, big, cube root, square the first, multiply together, don't change the sign. Sorry, don't double, you do change the sign, and then square the 3. It's been a while since we, fall break. It's been a while since you've done a cube like that. Hope that makes sense. Hope this helps. I'll be here early tomorrow or during the day if you need me. So come in and get some help if you need it, and I will be here to help you. See you. Bye.